This is Link, one of the OG Smash Bros. Characters all the way back from the Nintendo 64. Link in the competitive environment of Melee is mostly seen as being a low-tier to mid-tier character. Landing at the 18th spot on Melee's most recent tier list, Link has landed on that spot on almost every single tier list, being no higher than spot 13 all the way back in the 2000s. Link is mostly a below-average character.
Sup, honest content? Alright, let's talk about Link. While Link has really strong KO power and powerful moves, Link also has decent spacing ability and an above-average air game. Oh yeah, don't forget about his broken gnar, which, yeah, this move is busted. Link also is known for his useful projectiles that convert him into stronger moves in his kit, which means he could really be a menace on stages like Final Destination or Yoshi's Story, stages where he can control space and set the pace of the match really well. Link has been played by many talented players. More recently, people like Aklo have shown great results, especially during post-2020 online era. But unfortunately, this doesn't stop the point that Link is a character you're barely going to see in competitive play in gen. And that's mainly because his negatives outweigh his positives. Link's a heavy character with a fast fall speed and gets comboed very easily. And some of his moves can be considered slow, especially compared to the other melee characters in the cast, which leads to his low results and mostly not being seen a lot in competitive play. Who knows, while Link has mostly been in the same spot competitively for a very long time, maybe the resurgence of Link mains in 2020 will mean there are new Link mains to come. Alright, thanks so much for having me on Honest Content.
Link to his channel in the description. Fun fact, Link was actually ranked number 6 on the Melee April Fool's tier list back in 2005. Yeah, no one would believe that. The only thing that wasn't a joke in that tier list though was Jigglypuff becoming a high tier. All in all, Link does have some positives in his moveset, like being one of the rare mid to low tier characters that has actual decent range. Who would have thought? When Link is controlling the pace of the match, he tends to look like a pretty decent character. He also has a fully functional shield, which is pretty rare for a low tier character to have. Also, he has some decent moves to shut down recoveries, like his up B for example. But despite the positives, Link has a lot of negatives that hold him back from being a common character in competitive play. Reason 1 is Link's speed. He's really slow. You could summarize him as a slow but strong character, but this character archetype on its own doesn't end up being on the higher end of Melee tier lists. This means that Link is going to have difficulty against characters who are faster and have faster projectiles than him. Characters that can just outspeed him can shut him down. Characters that can play around his slower moves because he's going to be getting damaged twice as hard because of his weight and fall speed. While he has ways to contend with the higher tier characters, ironically, he can sort of contend with Marth compared to most of the low to mid tier characters, which is kind of interesting because most of the low tiers in Melee are destroyed by Marth. This is mainly because Link doesn't have trash range compared to the rest of the characters that are lower tiered like Ness, Mario, Pichu, for example. Link's slower moves can do work. Think of his up B for example, which is the strongest KO confirm that he has, but the move is still pretty slow and easy to contend with. It's beaten pretty easily by shield. His gnar lasts extremely long because the move is bugged out of its mind. His forward air is actually pretty decent as well, as it has very low amount of landing lag, but you can't really say the same for the rest of his aerials, especially his down air and up air especially. At least you can KO with them though. Can't really say that for some of the other low-tiered characters. Link has one of the slowest jump squats in the game, being 6 frames long, which is another thing that a majority of the faster characters don't have jump squats that are this slow. In fact, a lot of the higher-tiered characters have pretty good jump squats. This means that Link is going to be slower than almost all the other characters in the game when he's attempting to jump. His grab is also extremely laggy, which means you don't really want to miss with it or else you're going to get punished. And the icing on the cake for Link's speed is his pretty poor mobility. His wave dash is pretty short and his dash speed is also slow. While he does have options to deal with pressure, they don't win all the time, when on average his speed is really holding him back from dealing with the faster characters 100% of the time, which is really kind of sad. This leads to Link being outclassed by a lot of characters who have similar aspects to him but overall don't have the same negatives, but we'll talk a little bit more about those characters later on. Reason 2 being Link's predictable recovery. Link's up special on its own isn't terrible, it's just unsurprising. It's pretty easy to telegraph where Link is going to land when he uses his up special, and if he's going really far, you can either cover ledge or telegraph where he's going to land and then punish him. If you're one of the higher tiered characters in the game, there are plenty of options that you can use to stuff his up special. Because of his heavy weight and his fall speed, he's going to fall off stage like a rock. Cough cough, you could use Falco's down air or Fox's shine, for example. While he can use his down B bombs to help aid in his recovery, it's pretty difficult to pull this off, and it's also pretty tricky, but it can be helpful when mastered. So despite the fact that it can be extended, it's still overall very predictable and easy to contest with. His final recovery option is his Z-Air hook shot, which actually isn't too bad. It can allow him to sneak back on stage because a lot of people forget that Link has this as a recovery tool, and they don't really know how to beat it. And you can use it on stage for some unique but niche utility. So while it's nice that Link has all these recovery tools, the fact that they're pretty average and not the greatest hurts him in the long run. Again, it's like when I talked about this in the Mario video. Would you rather have multiple average recovery options or Fox's up special and side special? You're gonna choose Fox's recovery every time. Reason 3. Link's inability to deal with crouch cancel. Link has poor defensive options that are relatively slow, so he is more reliant on his back air and nair when trying to contend with crouch cancel. However, these tools aren't really that good at dealing with it, even though they're faster relative to his other aerials. So a lot of times opponents can beat a lot of Link's options just by holding crouch cancel. A lot of good combo starters like dash attack are shut down by simply popping a squat. Reason 4. Link is combo food. As stated earlier, Link is heavy. This has its own benefits like not being easily KO'd off the top blast zone, but being heavy can mean you fall off stage a lot faster and you can get comboed very easily. This ties in with Link's slow pace, where he misses a lot of his attacks. He's going to be punished harder than most of the characters in the cast because of his tall character model and his heavy weight. This in turn also means he's chain grabbed incredibly easy by characters like Fox and Sheik especially. If only it wasn't this bad, but it truly is. Link versus Young Link, and Link versus the rest of the cast. How does he link together?
Boo! You stink!
Most people know the two different versions of Link, Fast Link and Slow Link, or Young Link and Link. These two different versions of the characters are clones, yet they are very similar but different at the same time. Why is Young Link considered better than Link? He's barely better. Young Link doesn't hit nearly as hard as Link, but trades it with way more speed. These characters are essentially opposites of each other. Link gets standard arrows, while Young Link gets flame arrows. They aren't nearly going to go as far as Link's, but they have more hit stun and can be planted into the ground. And they're cooler, because flame arrows are always going to be cooler. Also, Young Link can wall jump, Link cannot, which gives Young Link slightly better recovery utility. The difference between Young Link and Link aren't really that stark as it used to be, where the meta shifted back in the day to Young Link actually being a decent check against the higher tiered floaty characters like Jigglypuff. Young Link can use his fast moves and projectiles to control the neutral against Puff, and it used to be a very effective strategy back in the day, but this strategy mostly was relevant in the 2010s. Young Link doesn't really completely landside win against Puff in the matchup as he used to. Link has been shown to be more relevant than ever during the online era of Melee, so these two characters are closer in viability more than ever before. Saying Young Link is better than Link, it's only by one spot on the tier list. Compared to other characters in the cast, Link can be considered outclassed by other characters who have faster projectiles, or just faster characters than him in general. More commonly, characters like Marth, who don't have a projectile game compared to Link, but the sword and range alone, especially on his grab, fill a similar niche to what Link is trying to be, and Marth is just way faster and doesn't have the same problems that Link has. At least Link is better than Roy though, saving him for another video. When transitioning to Project M, Link, in turn with a lot of the other Melee low tiers, was heavily buffed when he transitioned to PM. Initially in the earlier PM updates, Link was given an extremely broken boomerang that you could literally spam like crazy with no drawbacks. It was made very similar to the N64 iteration of the boomerang, but over time it was nerfed to be the more standard brawl iteration of the boomerang that we see today. Link in general is still a heavy but slow character, but the overall drawbacks of Link have been decreased significantly. First of all, his jump squat has been buffed, going from 6 frames to 5 frames in the initial updates of PM, and then in P+ going to 4 frames, which is a crazy buff. This overall helps Link's speed a lot, because now aerials can come out much faster because he can jump faster. Link in general is a well-ranged heavyweight fighter. He He can start combos from a distance and control space on his own terms. His shield, he can actually block projectiles with it, which is very cool and annoying at the same time. His up special has been buffed to be a very effective move out of shield, and it's essentially a stronger version of the melee iteration of the move. It's really strong at edge guarding on stage. His up special also has more horizontal mobility as a recovery tool. Link's slow aerials in melee have been buffed, being much faster to still being somewhat powerful in active moves. His tilts have been buffed in viability, each having more combo utility like his up tilt and down tilt, and his forward tilt can KO people who are caught off guard by the move. His up smash in earlier PM updates was pretty inconsistent and wouldn't link together. This was obviously patched in P+. All of his smash attacks are strong compared to the melee iterations of the move, and they're more consistent in general. His Z air is actually a pretty good tool in the neutral. It can start combos from afar, and it's still a pretty good recovery tool, but this time it resembles the brawl iteration of the move, so you'll have to grab ledge with it this time. His dash speed has been buffed slightly. His overall hurt box is slightly smaller as well. The overall character archetype of what Link is trying to be is much stronger in PM. Arrows are stronger, boomerangs are great at starting combos. Bomb jumping is a recovery tool that is slightly easier to do in PM, which is pretty cool. Link also benefits from the buffs from the PM engine, like being able to aerial glide toss with his bombs. For those who don't know what AGT is, it's essentially a PM tech where he gets a slight boost in the air from throwing projectiles. It's essential for a lot of characters in P+, like Diddy Kong and R.O.B, but any character in the cast can do it. In conclusion, Link transitioned to Project M and Project Plus very well. While Link didn't get major changes to his character like some characters might have gotten in P+, he is slightly faster with his jump squat becoming 4 frames, and his up smash buff, as mentioned, was another change in P+. Link is ranked currently in the top half of the B tier in P+, and it's a definite high point of the character. Link in P+ still has weaknesses similar to what they were in Melee. He is still pretty heavy, he gets comboed pretty hard. Some would say his recovery is still easy to contend with. His moves are still considered somewhat laggy, but Link's broken Nair in Melee was also nerfed. It doesn't last nearly as long as it used to, and his grabs, while decent, they still have somewhat laggy hookshot grab that can be contended with. Essentially, they kept the spirit of the Melee version while taking away a lot of the unnecessary negatives that Link had in previous iterations. So he's still slow, but a also heavy projectile character with lots of range, but he still has some of the same negatives that aren't totally limiting to the character this time, which is why he is even a higher tiered character compared to Toon Link right now in the meta, which is a character that during PM's lifespan, Toon Link was normally considered better than Link, but now Link has definitely been on the up climb recently, which is why he's been added on his B tier placement on the Project Plus tier list. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys want to get content early, there's a Patreon down below in the description. Patrons get access to the Discord community, so if you guys want to speak to me on there, there's a Discord. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you guys want to see me during the weekend, I live stream during the weekend, so come through on those live streams. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Peace out.